It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. It's Red Bull Salzburg, said to be in advanced stages. I'll be interested to see how it plays out. I think that Rangers will be happy with this. I won't go into any more detail than that, but I think this is kind of what they were angling for. What I will find interesting is if Danny Rohl decides, well, I don't want to go, then it might end up being problematic. But because Red Bull Salzburg is not RB Leipzig, it's important to make the distinction here that RB Leipzig would be a top job. Salzburg's a good job, but it's not the German Bundesliga, and that's what he wanted.
But he's worked for those owners before, hasn't he?
He has.
So, no, listen, I need to hold my hands up, Jacko. You were right. A few weeks ago, after speaking to Andrew Kavanagh at the end of the season, I was convinced Danny Rohl would be in charge of Rangers.
I think
at the start of the new campaign.
I think Andrew Kavanagh was playing a game of bluff first, Scott.
Yeah.
Whereby I think he knew that there was genuine interest, and the worst thing that he could have done at that time was say, well, we don't want this guy anyway. So I think that the correct noises were made, which is, if somebody's coming for him, well, you're going to have to pay. Now, let's see if Salzburg do have to pay a fee. But I certainly think from the Rangers' perspective, they'll be delighted that they don't have to bin him and pay him severance and as well as the backroom staff.
Well, from Rangers' point of view, it also takes away any risk of starting the season badly and then having to deal with a situation in October, for instance, that they've had to deal with.
The same one again. Yeah.
For what it seems like the last 4 or 5 years. Look, I agree with you. I mean, I don't believe for a minute Red Bull Salzburg have just made this interest in the last 24 hours. I mean, you're talking about an organisation that will get close links to Leeds United, to have close links to Rangers, via the 49ers enterprise.
Are you suggesting that Rangers may have manipulated this?
No, not that they've manipulated, but they must have known that there's interest there. They must have known that Rohl was on a list of potential managerial candidates for RB Salzburg. I mean, as I said, I just don't believe this is just surfaced in the last 24, 48 hours. And look, I agree with you. I've said before, I like Danny Rohl. I like him, but there's no getting away from the fact that he had a golden opportunity this season to go and win a title, and they failed, the Rangers. So I think if someone else comes in for your manager and they're willing to pay compensation, and at the back of your mind you've probably got doubts, and there will be doubts because of how the season ended for Rangers, that Danny Rohl can take Rangers that step further and go and win a title and win trophies. This takes the decision out their hands. If there's serious interest there, which we believe there is, it could be a really convenient exit strategy for Rangers and Danny Rohl before the start of the new season.
Scott, is it fair enough to assume that with these stories coming out that Danny Rohl must be interested in this? Otherwise he would have killed it dead. He'd have said, no, look, I'm happy at Rangers.
Dan, I think young European up and coming coaches now will always be interested when clubs come in for them. No, it's okay, Danny Rohl saying he wants to stay at Rangers for a long term and go and build something. But when another big club comes in for you, and again it's owners that you've worked with before. He was obviously at Leipzig for a spell, so he knows how they work. He knows how highly they rate him. I think it's always going to be tempting. I think, as I say, modern day coaches now, they're used to moving around. We spoke about that towards the end of last season, about how Danny Rohl's family and that's still in Germany, and he deals with that because he just sees that as part of it. He sees moving around as part of the job. So I think he will be interested. And well, it's obviously the early stages at the minute. We're led to believe kind of tentative discussions have taken place, but now, seeing how it's developed in the last kind of 24 hours, I'd be surprised if Danny Rohl's taking Rangers for pre-season.